Arcade Heroes.
Greetings, it's Adam with ArcadeHeroes.com, and today I had a rare opportunity to check out the grand opening of a new FEC that opened up here in Utah, where I live. This is Fat Cats. It's a chain that is growing rapidly. With this location, they are now up to 9 facilities, and that goes from southern Idaho in Rexburg down to Gilbert, Arizona. But most of their locations are located here in the state of Utah. This particular location is, again, in Clinton, which, if you have no idea where that is, it's relatively close to Ogden, Utah, which is about 40-45 minutes north of Salt Lake City. It's also very close to Hill Air Force Base. In fact, while I was walking around, I saw several airmen and some soldiers in uniform. But thanks to Zach Harmon of Fat Cats for inviting me over and giving me a chance to check out a grand opening of an FEC. And it had quite the line there. I wasn't able to show the entire line. But one thing that makes this FEC unique is they have their own theaters, and these aren't operated by AMC or anything. They do it themselves. They have 6 screens at this particular location. There's the concessions, as you see. They also offer a special deal with the movies to get an arcade card. On top of that, they have these bowling lanes. I forgot to ask how many exactly, but as you can see there, there's plenty. They have other concessions with their Salt and Sizzle bar and Salt and Sizzle grill, and so you can take that food or popcorn with you into the arcade, which you see here. And Zach was telling me that this is one of their larger arcade game rooms. The game room was furnished by Betson, and I know the rep who is responsible for that, Steve Lamoureux of Betson, who's I bought a few games from him over the years. And so here's a tour of their game room. And so an interesting mix of titles, not as Raw Thrills heavy as I'm accustomed to seeing. In fact, they had quite a few Unis games, Touch Magics, as you saw there. This Jurassic Worlds and Andamiro Redemption game. Of course, it is heavy on the Redemption Crane Machine stuff, as you might expect. There's a game from Coastal Amusements. That was also one that I wasn't necessarily expecting to see, Wild West Shootout, which, as I recall, came out in 2019. Had some really cool guns. That was probably my favorite thing about that particular game. But also a surprise was seeing Jet Pong and Jet Hoops by Valley Dynamo. The Jet Hoops was not working for some reason. I scanned the card and hey there, and it wouldn't work. But sometimes that happens on opening day things where things don't work out quite like they should. But that was the only game that I caught that was having an issue. Everything else worked just fine. Quick Toss by Jet Games, Skee Ball by Skee Ball, of course. And then they had some pinball machines. All 3 of these are premium edition models. So Godzilla, Star Wars, and Jurassic Park, all by Stern. And every time I wanted to go and play Godzilla, somebody was playing it. And so it lives up to its name as being popular. But the Star Wars premium was getting some play. I used to have that one. I have a Jurassic Park Pro at my facility, but the premium one's always a little bit nicer, of course. Grand Piano Keys by Baytech, as well as Connect 4 Hoops, the giant model with the projector. Hyper Pitch by LAI, and I think that was Mount Tops by Ice. Not as well versed in the Redemption stuff as I am on the video games, but of course I see these things at trade shows and whatnot. Tomb Raider by Adrenaline, as I recall, that was the only Adrenaline game there, and I had to stop at this one because a word of advice to developers out there: never let your machines have black screens ever as a transition. It makes you think that the game is off. And like, if I had not stopped there, you might have thought that the monitor didn't work on that one. But anyways, they will have a Drakens ride coming in. They mentioned Zach mentioned a few games that were coming there. They just weren't there yet. And so Drakens was one. Mega Shot by Jet Games is another. Here's some more of their Crane and Redemption section. More Unis stuff like the Fantastic Prize and Emoji Party and the Work Zone. Raccoon Rampage, another by Unis, which I filmed this one at IAPA, a water gun game, trying to capture that old Iceman magic. Obviously, the graphics are a lot better than what Iceman offered. Another by Ice with Monopoly Roll and Go. Some Andamiro coin pushers, including Pirates of Bikini Bottom, Spider-Man, and Marvel Avengers. There's a Guardians of Galaxy on the other side of the game room there, but that'll show up in a few minutes. I kind of don't get coin pushers, but that's just me. They obviously make a ton of money, get a ton of play. And just kind of going back here to the section with some ice product and sandwich in between, Milk Jug Toss, and Axe Master is Tic Shack Toe. So quite a few of these games I had only seen at trade shows before. I had not seen them on location, but I haven't been to a ton of FECs between trade shows. Rock the Rim by Baytech and the Playbox over there on the side. And so Zach was telling me how the location that this was put at definitely made a difference on earnings. Airstrike by LAI, this is the first time I'd seen one on location, and Zach had mentioned this was one of their top earning games, and so they were a little bit surprised by that. Dragon's Bane also by LAI Games, and the Wizard of Oz Emerald City Edition, followed by Over the Edge. Interesting how Wizard of Oz is generally one of the most popular games, but I guess I just caught it at a moment where it wasn't getting played. Hot Wheels by Adrenaline, okay, that's another one that was there from Adrenaline that I forgot about when I mentioned that a moment ago. The Taj Mahal Crane by Smart Industries, very, very popular, and somebody actually won, the little girl there. So congratulations on your giant prize. Obviously, giant cranes tend to haul in the earnings. But also, in addition to, hey there, people waving at the camera, going back a little bit more Airstrike. I feel myself playing this one, but I'll save that for a different video, I guess. Bigfoot Mayhem by Unis, and so this was the first time I'd seen this also on location. Big Shot by Jet Games, as they had mentioned, they're going to have a Mega Shot in soon. Although I forgot to ask if it would be the single or the double screen version, but they're going to put them side to side, see how each one does. Wouldn't be surprised if Mega Shot takes the crown there, because it's got the cooler gun. X Games Snowcross and Jurassic Park by Raw Thrills. Like I mentioned, I was surprised to see less Raw Thrills product here than you usually see with Betson. But speaking of that, Fast and Furious Arcade, the standard version, not the deluxe. And so interesting that they have the Bigfoot Mayhem there in the back, which is a deluxe game like the deluxe version of Fast and Furious. And then you have Injustice Arcade, Marvel Champions. Oh, and another Adrenaline one that I forgot about, Twister. So I forgot too many there. Sorry, Adrenaline, didn't mean to forget you on that. That's Marvel Contest of Champions, which had just started shipping a few weeks back, or several weeks ago. And then more crane machines, which are very popular. When I was chatting with somebody, the kid kept coming up with ticket rings and asking questions or making complaints because that he didn't get the rings he wanted or something like that. And then some air hockey tables, one by Unis and the other one by Ice. And then a 6-player prize cube with the rotating base. Crazy Prize by Touch Magics. This is also the first time I'd seen this one outside of a trade show, out on a show floor. And then we had some kiddie rides. And so overall, pretty solid FEC mix and a little bit different than I guess you would normally see at a lot of FECs. But here's one thing that they were starting to test out, and in fact, the two guys on this, the two gentlemen on this, are actually the owners of the Fat Cats company. From what I was told, they also are apparently partners with a restaurant around here called Costa Vida. I guess the one, they were having some technical issues with that. Right there in the shot, you see Weston, so he's over all the arcades within the Fat Cats chain. And so he's just helping figure out, or showing the attendant there. That's something that this has to have as an attendant. But they were going to be setting it up so that there would be a call attendant button that could get somebody over there if they wanted to play it, to figure out the payment for it. But again, this is Fat Cats in Clinton, Utah. Thank you again to Fat Cats for inviting me over. And I'll have a couple other videos from this one, and just me playing a couple of games there. But if you're in northern Utah, go and check it out if you like what you see. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.